Hello everyone, this is Shivam Dutt Mehta and you are watching Sudarshan World. Today we turn our focus to an alarming development in South Asia, where religious minorities are once again facing heightened violence and persecution. In Pakistan, a 120-year-old place of worship belonging to the Ahmadi community has been demolished by police and extremist groups, despite legal protections in place to safeguard such religious sites. This attack has sparked outrage and raised concerns about the treatment of religious minorities in the region. But this incident is not isolated. Just across the border in Bangladesh, religious minorities have also been under siege, particularly during recent riots that targeted Hindu communities. As tensions rise, both countries are witnessing the destruction of sacred spaces and a growing atmosphere of religious intolerance. Today we'll examine how the destruction of the Ahmadi Mosque in Pakistan and the violent riots in Bangladesh reveal a disturbing pattern of persecution against religious minorities, shedding light on the urgent need for stronger protections and a commitment to religious freedom in the region. We'll also explore how these events are interconnected, reflecting the broader struggle for minority rights in South Asia. The recent demolition of the 120-year-old Ahmadi place of worship in Pakistan serves as a stark reminder of the deep-seated issues faced by religious minorities in South Asia, and it brings to mind the growing violence and unrest related to religious minorities in neighboring Bangladesh. The parallels between the treatment of religious minorities in both countries, especially during times of rising religious and political tension, are concerning. In Bangladesh, the treatment of religious minorities, especially Hindus, has been a point of serious concern, particularly in the wake of recent riots. These riots often flare up around major religious events or political tensions, with religious minorities being caught in the crossfire. For example, during the 2021 Durga Puja celebrations, a series of violent attacks on Hindu temples and homes occurred, which were part of a larger wave of violence that targeted Hindu communities. The attacks were sparked by accusations of blasphemy, and they resulted in widespread property damage, injuries, and deaths. While the government condemned the violence, the response to protect religious minorities has often been seen as insufficient. The situation in Bangladesh mirrors the growing religious intolerance in Pakistan, particularly toward minority groups like the Ahmadi community. In both countries, religious riots and violent attacks are frequently directed at religious minorities, often with little recourse for justice or protection. The Ahmadi community in Pakistan, much like the Hindu community in Bangladesh, finds itself vulnerable to mob violence, discrimination, and the destruction of places of worship and sacred sites. The destruction of the Ahmadi place of worship in Pakistan, where the building was demolished despite legal protections meant to safeguard such structures, can be compared to the destruction of Hindu temples during the recent riots in Bangladesh. In both cases, religious sites are targeted as symbols of a minority's identity, and the violence is often justified by religious extremists or political groups seeking to advance their own agendas. Both the Ahmadi community in Pakistan and religious minorities in Bangladesh face a double threat. They are not only victims of violence, but also often face legal and social marginalization. In Pakistan, the Ahmadi community is legally restricted in how they can practice their faith, while in Bangladesh, although religious freedom is constitutionally guaranteed, Hindu communities face systemic discrimination and occasional violent attacks with little accountability for the perpetrators. The recent riots in Bangladesh and the demolition of the Ahmadi place of worship in Pakistan are part of a broader pattern of increasing religious intolerance in the region. In both cases, the state's response to protect minorities has been weak, and often extremists use religion as a tool to incite violence, further deepening the divide between religious groups. For both the Ahmadi community in Pakistan and religious minorities Hindus in Bangladesh, these incidents highlight a critical need need for stronger protection of religious freedoms, more effective legal enforcement, and a renewed commitment to interfaith tolerance. The international community has raised concerns about the state of religious freedom in both countries, with calls for greater efforts to prevent such violence and ensure the safety of religious minorities. The ongoing struggles of minorities in both Pakistan and Bangladesh emphasize the importance of fostering a culture of tolerance and respect for all faiths, especially in times of rising political and religious tensions. That's it for today. For more update, keep watching Sudarshan World. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Hindustan.